Oh my god, hello. We're back. We're back.
Hello.
Not live this time. We need to record some stuff. But that's
Time
fine.
capsule episode.
Yeah. Oh, woobity woobity woo.
You get to open it on Sunday.
But yeah, we already know what happened because we just did it. We're crazy like that. But this is Metal's Forge number 83. 83. Yeah, that's the one. I hope that's correct.
It's quite the number.
It is a number for sure.
Getting towards the double digits.
It's definitely
triple, sorry.
one of the numbers of all
zeros.
time. I'm just double checking all the mixer things, but it looks like all the audio is there, so that's good. It'd be annoying if that would be broken and I didn't notice because there's no chat to tell me.
Just in case, I muted my gaming computer. 'Cause if that
Nice.
sound is still going through. I don't
No,
want
you're
the
fine.
audience-
You're fine. I can only hear
Okay.
you. So
No, I don't have anything going on it now. So.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
here, you know what? I'll test it with the Windows volume beep. Actually, I didn't even hear that because it's muted.
Oh, well, I guess that works then.
You hearing the beeps?
I mean, I did hear the beeps, but
Okay. Then it's still a problem. I made them quiet.
It's fine. It's fine. Nothing should be going on anyway.
The soundboard is cursed.
Yeah, as you know, we talked about Argylle the week before this episode, and now we're kind of on a Matthew Vaughn arc ish.
Yeah. He needs redemption. He'll be redeemed today. He'll fall next week.
Probably
and then
fall next
hopefully
week. Yeah, from what I've heard. So the plan is, because we need to record 2 of these, because Marc is on the road he's on the road and then on the plane or something from Sunday on Sunday, both Sundays.
I'm in the air on both Sundays.
Yeah, so
I'd originally thought it was Saturday that we left and then Sunday we came home, but it's Sunday to Sunday, not Saturday to Sunday. So
yeah, we're prepping some episodes for y'all, because we promise one every week.
Yeah, we're gonna do our best to not ever miss a week.
That's the plan.
By preparing.
Exactly. And yeah, because you rewatched the Kingsman movies or Kingsman movies before watching Argylle, and I haven't seen them in a while. And then you recommended, hey, how about we talk about the first Kingsman movie after watching Argylle? So that's what we could talk about today, the Kingsman movie. That's the plan at least. I was trying to think if there's anything else we should talk about before. I don't. The Next Fest is going on. There's a bunch of demos you can play. You tried a couple. I mean, I showed you the Lightyear Frontier one.
Why don't you tell us a bit about that?
Oh, I can't really tell that much. I only looked at it for like 30 minutes because it was pretty late already. I was just kind of gloiming about. It looks really cool. Like visually, it looks very impressive. It has like this almost like the cell shader kind of thing going on. It's like a bit cartoony, but it looks really good. Like it's visually very impressive, and it eats on my at my GPU. I do have to limit the frames to like 100, so it doesn't just go full throttle on my GPU like all the time. Like doesn't matter if I go to 1080p or 1440p. My GPU is like, I'm gonna use all of that. Thank you. So I gotta limit that a bit down. But it's a chill game anyway, so it's not like you need any crazy response times anyway to play it. It's from what I've seen, you it's like resource collecting. You build some kind of farm basically with like a mech and stuff, and I think you need to revive certain areas. So I've been in an area before, and it tells you like, hey, rebuild or revive something peaks or whatever. And when you go in there, there's like all the woods are like looks almost burned up and dirty and overgrown, and there's like goop on the floor, and your mech has like a water spout, like as if you're playing
Mario Sunshine.
Exactly. And there's like goop on the floor, and you can get rid of that, and then the percentage goes up. So I think you have to do certain things in there, like getting rid of the sludge and stuff to revive the area, and I guess after that you can get more resources there. But I haven't gotten super far into it. I need to check it out a bit more, but it looks like it could be pretty fun as a chill game, because apparently it also has online co-op as well, so it might be just a chill game to just dick around.
It almost sounds like you're one of the harvesting units in an RTS. Like you're going out and getting the resources, and this area needs to be cleared. Send in the unit that clears them. But
Right.
yeah, no, that sounds pretty neat. Actually, I'm definitely gonna give that a shot.
Yeah. I mean, I was
The guy
visually very impressed. Like, it has a really cool art style, and yeah,
yeah, and
demo.
I
Just
believe
go check it out.
yeah, and check it out today if you're listening on Sunday, because Next Fest usually goes for a week. So yeah, you might need to play the
Good
demo
point.
today. Every so often though, they leave the demos up for longer than just the time which the Next Fest is on. Like every time New Blood does one, the guys who make Dusk and a Medieval, that studio always just makes their demos permanent. Like so they do a Next Fest demo and then you can always play that one because they're just like, yeah, whatever, we want we want you to continue playing this until our game comes out.
That's my belly just grumbled. I think my microphone picked it up. That's never happened before. I thought it was funny.
Oh,
I saw my.
I didn't hear it, so might not. Oh, did you see
Oh,
your
because I
little
saw my
weird-
Discord icon light up while I was grumbling. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, you know what
Yeah,
could be
same.
fun for the next time when there's like a Next Fest? We should like both pick like 3 games randomly, play them, and then I don't know, talk about it on the Forge. I think it could be
See,
fun.
and,
It could be fun.
I did actually try. I wanted to do that for the one of the previous Next Fests. God, that's hard to say a plural of. One of the previous Next Festivals. I wanted to just do random demos, and I started kind of playing around with it just offline to be like, hey, like, would this actually work?
Yeah.
And because of the quantity of demos on there, just going at random sometimes is a little bit on the strange side. And some of them are just kind of broken. Like I played this one Rogue Samurai, which looked pretty cool. And I don't know if it was just the way it was running on my computer, but my choice was either have VSync on that caps it at 30 frames a second, or VSync off with perfect 60 FPS, or I guess above, because it's set up to unlimited that you can have it set there, but with a big, massive, and thick screen tear, like probably 2 centimeters across the entire middle of the screen.
Oh no, fuck that.
I was like, well, both of these are not ideal, because like I can see the game running well around the big screen tear, so I'm like, is there any way I can just like shift those over and have them make sense? So like, because it's really distracting, but also this game looks like it could be something. It was kind of a top-down, almost like Zelda style game, but you're the samurai, and it looked like the sword combat was pretty neat. But yeah, I didn't really play too much of it because it was unplayable performance on my PC. Give it a shot if you guys want. Rogue Samurai seemed pretty cool. If it runs better on yours, who knows? The one that I really sunk a lot of time into, though, and was the only other one I played yesterday, at least, because, and not for lack of good demos, is mostly because X-Ray Girl got home from the Orlando trip, so, you know, I needed to spend some time with my wife. She has purple hair now. It was like being with a new woman in some ways. Some very specific ways, and also I didn't cheat on my wife, so, you know, win-win. But anyways, I played this game called Morbid, Lords of Ire. And the reason I settled in on that one is I recognized the art, because I have a game on Steam that I don't think I've played. Yeah, no, definitely 0 minutes in it, called Morbid: The Seven Acolytes. And it was like kind of the same logo and the same like lady that with silver hair. It was like, I don't know, it kind of looks like a female Geralt. And that's like a top-down sort of Zelda-style Souls-like with pixel art. And and yeah, I thought it was neat that it seemed like they did this full-blown Souls-like for the second one, the Lords of Ire. And it's not terrible. It's not like Liza P good, and it definitely looks like a small indie team making it. Like it's 3D graphics, and they look aesthetically pleasing. Like the art direction's good, but they're not like running in Unreal 5 and doing all sorts of crazy lighting. Like it's got kind of minimalist art style, but it's one which works and is like aesthetically pleasing enough that I was kind of intrigued by what I was seeing. And it's got a really weighty combat system to it, where it feels like Dark Souls speed of combat, but it's got this like heaviness to it. I think a lot of it is with effects that they do, like zoom ins and screen shakes during the executions, which I'll talk about because the executions are straight out of Sekiro. Same with the deflections actually are probably closer to Dark Souls, because it's less that you are constantly trying to parry each individual attack, and more that you can either time a deflect with, which it's kind of interesting too, because she doesn't carry a shield. She just uses her gauntlet to do the blocking. And it's just so weird just seeing a hand go out there. Like, oh wow, she's like blocking swords with her hand, and she's got this big like wrist guard on though that she's using. And I thought that was kind of a neat animation, and one that didn't look like every single Souls game I've ever played. But you can do a parry riposte by holding the left bumper and right bumper at the same time and timing it. But you have to go for the parry riposte. And then if you're holding R1 as well, you will go for that, and you need to get it timed or else you'll get hit. But with the deflections, you can still get a perfect parry that gives you basically all of your stamina back, so you can just continue attacking from there if you just do one perfect parry, as opposed to having to back up and regain your stamina. Or if you miss the timing on it and you're just still holding left bumper, you'll just be blocking. And it seems to be 100% blocking, so you don't lose health, but you do lose stamina. So I was just like, wow. I mean, just the basics of this are pretty good. They're doing some things that I kind of like. It doesn't play super well yet, but it seems like they've got a good basis for what could turn into a pretty great game once they hit 1.0 with it. Because that is the thing that you, as a kind of Metal was saying about like the chill game he was playing, Lightyear. Eating your GPU, these games they're not really ready yet, because these are demos. They're playable builds from indie teams more so than they are like a polished demo that's meant to sell you the game. And I think that's why Next Fest is a pretty effective system, because it's like, hey, you want to try out some janky early builds of games that could be really cool in a year or two.
Yeah, I should probably add the game didn't like lag for me. The Lightyear one, it just used all my GPU. It was just I'll take it, everything. But I couldn't get to my 165 refresh rate on my screen. That's basically it.
I mean, that is the good thing about living in my humble TV through capture card world. It's that I'm just capped at 60, so it's the only thing I need to shoot for. But also, every time I go play a first person shooter on my laptop and I'm at like 144 FPS on 144 hertz screen, just playing Quake or something, I'm just like, oh my god, this is so much better.
Yeah. If I'm being completely honest, I have two 165 hertz screens now. And if I'm being completely honest, like I don't even need the second one to be that high, because there's no game's gonna be on there.
Here's what you can do: you can play a Nintendo 3DS game and just set it up the center emulator so that the second screen is just full 1440p screen.
It's great. I have this new PC now that's pretty beast. I have these insane like pretty high quality screens, and the next game I'm gonna continue playing is just Wind Waker on Dolphin.
Actually, that kind of made me I wonder if Wii U games that use dual screens, I wonder if you could set those up as well, because you probably just have it be that the stylus is your mouse, like so that you got your mouse there.
I never tried a Wii U game on PC, but that's probably how it would work, right?
Well, Breath of the Wild, the video I made on Breath of the Wild was me emulating the Wii U version, because there wasn't a viable Switch emulator. There was the Switch emulators were out at the time, but they just weren't very good. Like they weren't nailing the performance on a game like Breath of the Wild the way the Wii U version, because Breath of the Wild was a Wii U, I guess, death game and a Switch launch game. Kind of the same with Twilight Princess and GameCube and Wii, right? Because it was Twilight Princess came out on GameCube. Right around the time GameCube was on his way out, and then was it a launch title for Wii? I think it might have been.
Was that the one they just mirrored and then on the one console? Yeah,
they mirrored it on Wii so that Link would be right-handed.
That was weird. Like I never really understood why they did that.
Oh, it was just because most people are right-handed, and it's motion controls.
Oh,
so okay. Their sword in their right hand.
How did I not think of that? Of course, it makes so much sense.
I'm surprised. It's motion controls. So
yeah, of course.
Skyward Sword, I think you might have the option. Though I've been playing Skyward Sword on a controller because I've just been playing the Switch version.
Yeah.
So it controls fine. I don't think that game needs motion controls. To the point that when I boot it up on Switch, it'll say this game plays better when you take the things out. I'm like, no, thank you. I'll just swing my sword with the X button or Y button, I guess.
Yeah. I keep looking at the chat window. It's like, wait, no, there's no chat there. I'm so used to just doing these live.
I have a whole monitor for chat, and it has my chats from last night up on it, and I'm glancing at them constantly.
So used to it.
Neither are moving, but it's just like, oh, I feel like I need to respond to these people.
Right, yeah.
Like, man, they were good enough to not only come to my stream, but to interact.
Woo.
But it's like, no, that was yesterday, though.
Oh. Oh well, but yeah, go check some demos out. Maybe you find something fun.
Yeah.
I actually
And
downloaded
hey,
Morbid. People probably heard the Steam sound of the download being done, so I'll probably check that out
yeah.
after we finished recording this because probably still have some time. I don't expect
Cool.
this to be a 7-hour stream. This is gonna be.
Yeah, no, probably not, unless we just start bullshitting and
Oh
end up
yeah, of
talking
course.
for a really long time because we forgot to end the stream. but
You have to
but
cut out all
what I
the
was gonna,
racism at the end.
just to put a button on the next fest stuff though.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Even if the festival is over, still give us your recommendations in the comments
Oh,
because
100%.
those might just be games we should keep an eye on. And that's
Yeah.
the big thing about next fest. You're never going to play all the games, so just you play a couple games, get your friends to play a couple games, and then you tell each other about them.
Yeah. I'm really happy that demos at least made a resurgence in that
Yeah.
capacity.
Yeah,
Like,
and on Steam where you can just return a game if it sucks anyways.
yeah. There's been a bunch of indie games. I couldn't tell you which ones where I played the demos. Like, oh, this is really dope. I'm gonna buy this now. It's like, oh yeah, this is how demos should work. Like, oh, you can check it out. Oh, I like this. Now I'm gonna give you money for this.
Games I've discovered through Next Fest include a bunch of games that I ended up being a pretty big part of my life in some ways because Valfaris was a game that I made a video on. Valfaris was one I played on an Next Fest demo. Turbo Overkill, that was another good one, as well as Severed Steel. That are kind of similar games. Let's just try to think of some other ones. I know there are a few others, and when they come to me, I'll mention them. But yeah, those are games that I just played. I picked up a random demo because it looked kind of cool on Next Fest. And then the games ended up coming out and being kind of critically acclaimed, and I was like, "Oh shit!
Nice.
I guess I was right."
Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, if you have any recommendations, pop them down below, as they say, as the cool kids say. But let's talk about the schmovie we're here for. I guess disclaimer: this is not going to be like a full breakdown or anything. This is just going to be a bit of a conversation about the movie, much more chill. Yeah, obviously, as I said already, Kingsman: The Secret Service, the first Kingsman movie.
Yeah, based on the graphic novel by Marc Millard, The Secret Service.
Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to find the recorder. There we go. Got some moving pictures in the background now. I really like this movie, but it also pisses me off, and that's specifically because I watched Argylle last week.
Wait, that's the thing because I'm in the similar boat, but the one that angers me is Golden Circle now.
I haven't seen that yet. I'll have the pleasure very soon.
That's why I kind of can't wait. Hearing you say that, I'm just like, oh my.
It's insane to me how this movie exists. He started this universe, or I guess adapted this universe from the comic book, with all this crazy stuff happening, over the top anything. Like, it's... I don't even know what to say. It's just... Argylle just started so serious, like it's a completely different thing. And then they just, at the end, go like, no, this isn't the Kingsman universe, actually. And you're like, why? What are you doing?
Kind of happy I didn't see that post-credits.
What are you doing? And I'll be honest, I completely forget that Samuel L. Jackson is in this one as well, which is just now really fucking weird that he's in Argylle as a completely different character.
Yeah, if you go back to the Argylle episode, that is a point. I'm like, wait, is it in the Kingsman universe? That means Samuel Jackson's already played 2 characters? What the hell?
It was so to hear, it's like, wait, did he end up being like a guy somewhere else in the end? I was like, no, he just dies at the end as the villain. I was like, wait, why is he the Solomon man in Argylle? It's so weird. So we have like 2 characters that look exactly the same, but are different characters. It's really weird. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, and I don't think I have either outside of like long-running franchises like Marvel, because I think there's a few people who've been like, and even then, I think the Netflix shows have kind of been rendered irrelevant. Because isn't there someone who's in like Daredevil and then they play a different character in one of the movies? I feel like that's
that's a problem now because I think they made the Netflix movie series and stuff canon now.
Yeah.
So,
it's become a problem again, you mean?
I mean, I guess, yeah, again. Now it's an official problem because they're officially canon from what I understand.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of forgetting who has played two roles though. It's not Rosario Dawson. God, who is it?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll come to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just the immediate when the movie starts, it's like pretty basic. It's like, oh, they're doing like they're stopping a terrorist organization or something in the beginning, and one of the people dies there, and it's the son of Eggsy, who we follow
Yeah.
around in the
Or
movie.
the father of
The father of the Eggsy.
I remembered it too. It was Copperhead and Luke Cage's Blade.
Ah,
Mahershala Ali.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, there you go.
Like when he was announced as Blade, I was just like, he's in the MCU. He's the lead villain of the first Luke Cage season.
Yeah, that's weird. Oh man. But yeah, the friendo Arthur, which is Galahad in this one, if I remember the names correctly.
Galahad.
Galahad, right?
Galahad, who incidentally was the gentleman knight of King Arthur's court.
No,
And he's also the protagonist of the Order 1886, which is also a King Arthur's court. Kind of the lineage of knights had been going on that whole time, and they're kind of like immortal. And yeah, but Galahad was the hero of that game as well as the protagonist of this movie, twice over.
But yeah, he goes to the mother. It's like, yo, he died, but I can't really tell you anything. But here's this medallion, the Medal of Honor of Valor, or what was it?
Yeah, it was a very particular military decoration.
Yeah, and
And
it's like,
it's one that is not common.
hey, if you ever need anything, any favors, call the number on the back and say Oxford, not Brooks, no Brooks, no
Oxford's not brogues.
not Brogues, right? And she's like, nah, I want my husband back. It's obviously very sad that the husband died, of course. But then he
I mean, yeah, that's the thing about if you ever would have to deliver the news about a comrade or like a comrade in arms dying to their family member, there's nothing that you're going to be able to say to that person that will make them feel better.
Absolutely not.
I mean, I'm sure that while that was like kind of a shitty thing that she said to Galahad in some ways, it's also 100% understandable, and I guarantee you he knew that was coming. But he's like, yeah, I'm gonna still just give the boy the thing.
Yeah, he gives it to him. It's like, here, take care of this, and also take care of your mom. He's like, just a little nod, but he's like little baby Eggsy.
It makes sense too. It's supposed to be his father's medal. Like he's not gonna, like, even if the wife won't take it, he's gonna be like, well, I mean, he should have his father's like Medal of Honor, effectively. And yeah, I thought that intro scene immediately endears you to Galahad because he says immediately when Eggsy's father dies, he's like, I missed it.
Yeah,
like
I
he
missed
blames
it
himself right away.
Yeah. There's also a little bit of through line in the movie with him because he's like he always tries to do things right for Eggsy as well. Like there's like a particular scene later in the movie.
That line breaks my heart.
Where Eggsy's like, oh, because there's like the dog that is stuffed, but it's like, oh, is that why you fucked up with my dad, and is he stuffed around here somewhere too? And he just says, didn't you realize I've been trying to do you right this whole time since he died? It's like, damn.
Everything that I've done has been to pay him back for that. And it's just like, oh, yeah. If I were Eggsy, I'd be like, shit.
Yep. And this is like, it's like these things, right? Because he doesn't say like shit and fuck or something. You just see his face for a couple of like 2 seconds, and you see the regrets. Like, oh, you didn't even need to say anything. I understand. Thank you. Hey, remember when movies were actually good?
And put the camera on a good actor for a second. That's all you really need to do for reaction.
It's just one of these things, man. This movie's also, it's just, man, it's a good combination of fun and a bit of serious and some characters, and it's a very simple premise throughout the movie.
I would liken it in tone to Scream, and I'll justify that by saying I would always say Scream and Scary Movie are the things I'll always point to explain to someone the difference between satire and parody, because Scream is kind of picking at the slasher genre and making fun of it in some ways, but it's still a serious slasher movie. that people actually die. The characters, well, I
Right.
mean, okay, Dewey kind of comes back like Deus Ex Machina a few times. That's fair. But most of the other characters who die and you explicitly see them die are dead, and there are consequences. Whereas Scary Movie, nothing matters because it's parody. It's insanity comedy, and that doesn't necessarily make it bad. That's just what they're going for. It's like no,
Right.
we're not trying to be a smart version of this while having fun with it and being satirical. We're trying to make fun of this genre flat out. Like very obviously, we're pointing out the stupid things and letting you laugh at them. And I would say Austin Powers is that for spy movies because it's like it's the James Bond parody. Is the thing that is doing nothing but poking fun at the genre, and in particular the James Bond films, like the idea of a gentleman spy, and even then like celebrities of the 60s wearing very flamboyant outfits, like velvet suits with cravats, like lace cravats. Like it's silly, but it's like, well, in the 60s that might have been cool though in England. So it's like, well, you know, okay, I guess it's fun. And
Austin Powers is awesome. I love those movies.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
exactly. Like respectful in its own way, but also it's very much being silly. Like we're just trying to make you laugh. We're not really trying to tell you a serious spy story. Whereas I think Kingsman kind of hits that Scream satire zone of like, there's plenty of stuff in this movie that is just blatantly an homage to James Bond.
Right.
Like the martini I love too, that he orders just the opposite type of martini as Bond. Flat out, just everything about the Bond martini is just the things he specifically asked the bartender not to do. It's like a martini, gin, obviously.
Obviously.
Stirred for 10 seconds while looking at an unopened bottle of vermouth.
It's fun. It's really fun. But yeah, I mean, just to, I guess, explain the story. That's the fun part. The story is not hard to explain in this one. There's like, overall, it's about. I mean, it's basically about Eggsy being out of place. It's like a good thing. It's like, because he's like he's from the I don't know, from the English hood or something. He's like a street smart kid basically. Kids. He's like getting in trouble. He's hanging out with his lads. They're having some pints.
Uses the term bruv regularly.
Bruv, yeah, but in a cool English, funny way. I say cool. It's probably not cool, but it's like it's a proper way to say it. The way you could never do it if you never grew up there. I feel like.
or if you're Canadian or German.
Yeah.
We're not going to say bruv properly.
Like he's wearing completely normal clothes. He has a base cap on. He looks normal. He looks completely normal, and then.
Yeah, just a normal dude.
There's like there's the town bullies that he gets in trouble with, and at some point he gets he gets so much in trouble. Well, not at some point, in the beginning, because he steals the bully's car, and he immediately gets snatched by the police.
Pickpockets him.
Yeah, he pickpockets him, and then they steal his car, and they do wheelies in front of him. And then he drives off, but then he gets immediately caught by the police. And then there's like a little chase scene where he goes backwards and just goes around. But he makes sure, and that's important to mention, he makes sure his friends get out and he does not snitch on them.
Yeah, and then like he almost nearly intentionally crashes the car because he realizes he's not going to get away. So he gets his friends to jump out before he ends the chase.
Yeah, because the only reason he crashed the car is because he didn't want to run over a cat or a dog that was on the street.
Yeah.
So then he gets put into like he's get a hearing into custody, right? And he's the policeman is like, just tell me your friends' names, and no, or you're going down for them. It's like, no, I'm not gonna tell you. I don't know who you. He's just not gonna tell him because he's loyal.
I was in the car alone. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's just stonewalling the cops and not ratting out his friends, even though the cops kind of incentivizing him to do that. He's like, well, we could just let you go if you give us the other people.
Exactly. And he's like, nah, but I would like to call someone, like I'm allowed to. And then he does, and he remembers his little medal because he's been carrying that around since he was a child. Yeah. He calls the number, remembers the phrase, and he goes free.
Because it's the kind of thing that we never really see when Eggsy learns it, but that also kind of establishes that his mother calmed down.
Yeah,
and said, okay, just so you know, that medal that you've been holding, if you ever are in trouble and you need something, call the number on the back of it and say Oxford's not Brogues.
Yes.
It's like he immediately knew, which means the mom did. Like that only tells her that, like, yeah, she didn't just disregard the Kingsman.
Exactly.
Yeah. Was like, oh, okay.
Precisely. And yeah, he's greeted by Arthur outside, and they have a little talk. Yeah. It's like, wow, what's been going on? Your dad would be kind of disappointed because you stopped all your hobbies. He went to like the army or something or the like some
Marines,
training.
Yeah, Marines.
Yeah, and it's like, but you dropped out halfway through, and he's like, yeah, because my mom was going insane, and now has an abusive boyfriend, and I was looking out for her. And then he starts to kind of shitting on him. It's like, oh, you posh bastard, you just have a silver spoon up your arse, and if I had that, I would flourish. Like, he's basically telling him to fuck off because he's wearing a suit and has like no problems in life.
My life is bad because of my circumstances, not my choices.
But
and
we also
I'm gonna not make good choices because I don't have to. My life's bad.
Yeah, and we learned that he has like athletic abilities. Like he played, what was it, like tennis at some point. Like he did lots of gymnastics, sports.
Yeah, like the gymnastics is a good one to throw in there, man. Because it's one that not a lot of people are thinking as like superpower stuff. Is like, yeah, man, every single superhero you've ever seen do anything does like gymnastic stuff all the time. And if you're good at gymnastics, you're jacked and incredibly strong, and generally super flexible.
Absolutely.
So, not a bad pastime.
But you just learned that he stopped all these things because he was looking out for his mom. And then the town bullies come back into the pub because they're chilling in the pub at this time and just having a pint. And obviously Eggsy knows that they mean business. Probably want to beat him up. And he tells him, hey, come on, just get out of here. And he's about to go out, but then the one guy tells him, he teases him with something. I forgot what it was. But that annoys him, and he's like, basically, like, you shouldn't have said that. And he closes the doors. It's like, manners maketh the man, or what was it?
Manners maketh man.
While locking the doors of the pub. Yeah. And then he turns around and is like, so, are you going to stand there, or are we going to fight? It's like, oh, that's pretty badass. And then he beats the piss out of them.
And this was the scene where I grew a newfound appreciation for Colin Firth as an actor. Just because, to me, he was always like the ordinary handsome English dude in romantic comedies. It's funny we're talking about romantic comedies again, but he was in like Bridget Jones's Diary and like a bunch of those kind of like movies where an American lady falls in love with a British man. And I just found him kind of boring in like everything I had seen him in. And then he shows up in this movie, and it's not like, I mean, I never thought he was a bad actor or anything. I just he never was in a whole lot of movies that I found him to be a compelling force in, you know. And then this fight scene starts. I was like, man, either they're doing really good cinematography and stunt work, or Colin trained for this shit. Because, like, man, it's a really good fight.
Yeah. And it also sets the tone for the action scenes in the movie. It immediately establishes, okay, we are going over the top. We have crazy fights. We have crazy gadgets and gizmos because we're the Kingsman spy thingy. And
ultra kinetic camera work too.
Yeah, we have like we switched the cameras to
action scenes.
Yeah, we have like camera switching to pretty like close-ups and follow the motion the people are doing. Like you can see their face and you see them like spin around, but you also see him throw someone into like the bar, and it's like bends, like there's like implied super strength almost.
Yeah.
So we basically established like, oh, this is a pretty crazy environment we're in. Like you probably don't expect too much realism going on.
Well, I mean, we get that too in the cold open with the agent who's the other one on the mission where Eggsy's father dies, and he goes and gets Mark Hamill out of the ski chalet thing.
Oh,
Like
right,
when
right,
he
right. Oh, yeah, that
joined
was before that. Yeah, you're correct.
yeah.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, yeah,
And so like off the bat, I was like, oh man, like this action is not even like anything I've seen in a Bond film. Like it's like, oh,
yeah.
this is kind of crazy.
A dude gets cut straight in half with a lady
Yeah.
that has blades for feet.
Oh yeah.
Like,
See, arguably that kind of is James Bondish because Goldfinger was the first one that had Odd Job in it. Oh, I mean, it's the only one that had Odd Job in it, but it was the first one that had like a really crazy villain that had like superpowers essentially. And for him, it was his hat. He was able to throw a hat that is has a razor around the brim that is not really visible when he's just wearing the hat, but he throws it and then it cuts things. But yeah, and he cuts off the head of a statue perfectly with it to intimidate Bond early on in the movie. And so I'm gonna guess that the prosthetic leg swords were kind of an homage to Bond villains like Oddjob and Jaws, the one with the big metal teeth.
right, right, right.
And yeah, but it was the speed and quality of the way the fight scenes are shot and edited that I think really kind of it puts Kingsman on an interesting foot at the very beginning of the film. And this is the second scene where it's like, oh, even Colin Firth is messing people up in this movie. And I really like the first bar fight. I think it's a great way to kind of get you into the A story because I mean the cold open was kind of it's setting up the villains I guess, but not really like giving you the protagonist and how they enter the journey because most of the movie is origin story training film stuff. Which, but it's compelling and it's good and they deliver at the end. Like it's not just like it ends, he becomes a Kingsman, and then there's like one little thing that happens. It's like no, it's the Kingsman training ends, and then a whole bunch of movie exists after that.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, there's like a dude gets straight up cut in half. It's kind of fun. But yeah, the bar scene, you get to see the like some of the things that get shot out of a watch. You see the tech umbrella basically because that one you can use as a shield against at least smaller firearms.
Yeah, and I noticed that at the end too. We'll get to that though.
Yeah. What else? I'm thinking of something. Oh, the ring that electrocutes people, as well, which we all get more explanations for later as well.
He doesn't throw one of the lighter grenades. That's in the church fight.
Yeah, that's a church fight, which is fucking hilarious. I love that fight.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah, he just does all these things, and he's about to basically put some amnestics onto Eggsy. He's like, no, I'm cool. I've never snitched on anyone. And he puts his hand on the shoulder. It's like, that's good to hear. I appreciate that. Of course, he puts a little tracker on there with the microphone and everything to check if he actually is gonna not snitch, to see if he's
microphone / like projecting speaker.
Yeah. I'm actually not quite sure how that worked at the end because it seemed quite loud, but
I mean, I could just as easily believe that that's some crazy spy tech only coming out of the microphone thing.
Yeah, probably.
Or that Harry just has like speakers set up in Lexi's house specifically for if he ever needed to do that. Like, to just save them when he's too far away to.
Yeah. But yeah, because he goes home and the abusive dad, he's actually friends with the bullies in town. So he's like, where's
he's the leader of their gang.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, where's this Taylor fucker, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm not going to tell you. So basically, he's not snitching. He's not telling anyone. And then Arthur just pipes himself in through that microphone / loudspeaker / whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I have enough footage to actually put you in, to give it to the proper authority, so you better let him go. Also, actually, meet me at that tailoring shop I told you about. It's like, all right.
Yeah. Actually, just dips, too. He's immediately out the door.
Yeah, he's like, all right, that fucker has a knife from at my throat right now. I'm out of here.
Doesn't hesitate for a second, though. I thought it was actually pretty good that he wasn't confused as to what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, okay, more weird shit from the tailor guy.
I just saw him beat up the people with like crazy text. Like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna. But the friendo's already waiting outside, and we see him do some parkour. That's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he goes to the tailor and basically, in that aforementioned fight in that ski lodge or whatever the fuck it was in Argentina, I think they said, doesn't matter.
Top of a mountain, wherever it is, it's
Yeah,
snowy.
that agent dies. That's the guy who gets cut in half. So they have a spot open now, for the Kingsman,
Lancelot.
Lancelot. Precisely, not precisely, precisely. I'm very good at talking.
It's okay, my German sucks.
Oh, okay. And he basically gets him in there. It's like, hey, you wanna do some crazy shit? And he's like, okay. And then they go in there and they take an elevator down to a big old fast moving train thingy in the ground and make their way to the Kingsman building school thing, the headquarters. And he gets put together with the rest of the group, which are all like pretty high society Oxford student, ex-Oxford students, probably from rich upbringings, all have like some kind of posh clothes on, fancy stuff.
It's crazy. I interviewed a girl a little while ago named Galatea, Authentic Observer on YouTube, and she recently made a video about nepo babies, like the children of celebrities.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's a really good video, actually. I strongly recommend watching it, even if the title of it sounds like it's just a video about Kylie Jenner. It is, but it's about more people as well. And she goes into this thing about the posh private schools in England and how each of them are distinct in their own ways and what the cultures of those schools are, what people generally think of the people at the other schools. And apparently it's this whole big thing because status structure is apparently a really, really important thing. So being able to go to one of those schools at all is a big deal, but getting into the ones that are more difficult to go to is kind of even better. So there's like a hierarchy and stuff. So that's actually why I got a joke that they didn't get before, and I forget what the exact schools were. But when they asked him where he goes, and he lists like three of them, three of the schools that were in Galatea's video, and then he is like sassy back to them or something like that, and then they say, "Oh yeah, definitely St. Bart's" or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh shit, I kind of get that now because I have a concept of it." But that apparently there was more to that than those guys in particular being dicks. Apparently, all the people that go to those schools, or at least the vast majority of them, I imagine there's a few down to earth people, but apparently the culture of those schools is like, yeah, we're good, the others are bad, and here's why. Like all the girls at the Catholic one, they're actually sluts. And it's like all the guys at the all boys school, it's like, yeah, they're all the worst people you could possibly imagine because they don't have any like women around them, so then they become terrible. So it's like they all have these reputations, they play against each other, but ultimately it's like you guys are going to the most rich private schools in the world, and the vast majority of people are just normal dudes who go to public schools. So
Right.
It's like you guys are acting like the school someone goes to actually means all that much, but to those people it does, which is I guess what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. But yeah, they're like all like the one guy already has like 2 or 3 people around him. He's like, oh, look at that guy that doesn't wear a suit right now, but just normal clothes and a base cap, like a normal human being, basically. It's like, oh, you pleb over there. And it's like him not really trying to fit in, but just proving them wrong, I guess, because like things like, oh, I want to be friends with these guys. Like, no.
No, yeah, because he doesn't care. Like, and
Yeah,
I
he
think
just
that
doesn't give a shit.
They don't quite understand why he doesn't seem to care about their approval. Like,
Yeah.
he's just like,
Because I think
okay.
at one time it's like, oh, but I think I ordered some McDonald's from you at some point. And it's like, no, but I can put some special sauce on you. I would put some special sauce on your burger. That's like a wanking motion.
It has a wank.
Like he doesn't take the shit from him. Basically, he's like whatever. And yeah, this is like basically where his training starts. I actually don't know how long his training is. It's
Yeah, they don't make that 100% clear.
Yeah.
It's at least over the course of the time that Valentine's plan comes into action.
Yeah.
We sort of see when he starts stepping on the gas with that, like once Lancelot gets almost rescues Professor Arnold, like Mark Hamill's character, but then it's when Galahad goes to interrogate him that that he blows the head, like blows his head up, basically, like uses the I guess what it would be silencing chip. Like,
yeah. Yes, like they have like these safety chips in them, which also is safety for Valentine, so they can blow up his head before he starts talking.
Yeah, and so he can listen in on all of the people who
yes.
accept it. He can hear what they're saying, and if they start seeming like they're going to reveal something, he just blows up their head from remote. Which I mean, not a bad way to explain why information's not getting out about this, right?
Yeah, it just blows people's head up.
Yeah. But at the same time, I think that's when Valentine kind of kicks his plan into overdrive and is like, okay, this needs to happen, and so that accelerates the deal, and Eggsy is at least finished his training before that happens.
Yeah, so while he's doing his training, going through all the motions there, Galahad is still looking for what's going on there, and we got Valentine, which is played by Samuel L. Jackson with a lisp, which is really hilarious. I fucking love it.
I think it's a great performance.
He's great.
And he's still intimidating. He's intimidating in a really weird way. Because he's intimidating because he can easily get other people to kill you.
Yeah, so he's an evil man for this, and you know what? Talking again. Really simple premise. Hey, climate change. The humans are the virus. We need to get rid of most of humans so the Earth doesn't die. So we're gonna put chips into some people who are on our side, and
more extreme version of the Thanos plan. It's just we're gonna kill most of the people and only have the people I want alive.
And Valentine's plan is, you all get free Wi-Fi, free internet, free phones, free SIM cards. I mean, that works with every phone forever for free. But the idea is, of course, he has an activation thingy in there that does like a noise, which makes everybody go fucking crazy and just start fighting each other. Mm-hmm. And that way, they just want to decimate the population.
Imagine if people's phone speakers, not if they have the SIM card, only the people with the SIM card, but it's the SIM card that gives you free unlimited calling, text, and internet forever, like no bill ever. You just have to go to the store and pick one up. Most of the people have them because they made enough. Yes. And even if one person has it, as long as you can hear the sound, it will drive you into murderous rage.
Yeah. And throughout the movie, we always see him talk to more and more powerful people, because he basically, like, we learn that he is already like super rich and kind of connected to just getting more and more connected by his celebrity status and all his money and his plan. Basically, it's like, hey, you're gonna do this and this and this, but you're gonna be fine because I'm gonna give you this chip, and we also have a safe house, or a safe mountain, I should say, because they basically like have a base in the mountains where we just chill out and watch everybody kill each other, and then we're just gonna have a big party in the meantime.
Yeah, that was the bizarre part of it, especially if the rationale is the people Valentine's talking into it are people who just understand him and know, like, yeah, no, maybe you are right, and maybe this is what has to be done. But I think what makes it bizarre is like, yeah, we're gonna watch the world kill each other violently. It's like,
they're just all like, basically all of them are just evil. It's like, yeah, all of you are evil.
Yeah. Hey, and I mean, Obama has the chip.
Oh no, I knew it.
Like, I feel like you couldn't make that today.
Thanks, Obama.
They actually have a scene where it's actually the scene where he explains it, where he explains how it works and what his plan is, the culling, and why he wants to do it. The person who it then pans out that he agrees to is just the back of Obama's head.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like Valentine, you're making a lot of sense, and then it keeps panning out, and you see it's the White House. So I mean, they do kind of take shots at things that would be a little edgier than you'd expect. I feel like you can get away with that now.
And in the end, it's basically a good old run against the time, or a race against the time. We just need to stop him.
Yeah, before you can activate it, before V-Day.
V-Day, yeah, that's right. So yeah, he does his whole training. Eggsy does. He gets to the second last. Him and Roxy, who is the partner at the end. Like not in a romantic way, just like in the Kingsman way. Because she's actually the one who gets the title Lancelot. He fails. because during training they get to have a puppy that they have to take care of and
And he
raise.
gets a little pug.
Yeah, because he's
In
like,
Jack
wait,
Bauer.
that's a bulldog, right? It's like, no. But
No, it's a pug.
he does get bigger though, right? It's like, no. And he's like, oh
No,
shit.
he'll get a little bigger. He'll get as bigger as Rocky guy, like about
Yeah.
as big as Rocky.
That's really funny though. I really enjoy that. It's like, because he thought it was a bulldog.
Yeah, but I mean,
Because he
loves
makes
it
fun
all
of
the
Roxy
time.
for taking a poodle. It's like, a poodle? Come on. It's
Yeah,
like,
well, but it's a full-size poodle, and like they're actually full-size poodles are hunting dogs. So like,
yeah,
you can
yeah. I
have-
think she points that
you
out
can
as
use one
well.
of the retrievers. Yeah.
But yeah, because the last test they have to do is kill the dog, shoot the dog. They get a gun, like shoot the dog, but he can't make it. He can't do that. It's like, can't shoot the dog, but she
I mean,
can.
I'd fail. I
Right.
wouldn't- no chance. Like if you told me to shoot Rocky or JoJo, I'd probably fail hard because I'd probably point the gun at Arthur.
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
nuh-uh,
oh,
I'm gonna
it's
fucking
like,
kill you.
motherfucker, I'm gonna shoot you.
But yeah, we learn later those are actually blanks, so the dog would have been fine, but they don't
Yeah.
know that already. Because there's a whole thing about, I guess, like obedience and what kind of sacrifice are you willing to make, or how far. They test the limits, basically, is what they say. Like, they test the limits. There's like even the first task they have happens at night, like they're all asleep, and the room just starts flooding.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, and like there's like two of them. It's like, oh, get the shower heads and just put them in the U-shaped toilet because there's like air behind the U shape. I don't know how much that does work, but I think there's air behind that. I think that works. I'm not sure.
I feel like that. I mean, I've never been taught to do that in the military. I don't think they ever expected us to be in a room that got it.
They're just full of
spontaneous
water immediately. It's like,
Well, I mean, like realistically, if we're in a flooding environment, I suppose that's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, my previous unit, I'm not at that unit anymore, so I'm not like doxing where I am or anything. But two field ambulance, they do a lot of disaster assistance response. So, like, I mean, my old unit does respond to things like floods. So,
Right.
I mean, I guess it makes a little bit of sense, but yeah, I can't tell you if that works or not. It's at least not standard military training.
no
in
toilet,
Canada.
no toilet breathing. That's a bit weird, a bit weak. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, like I'm not saying it doesn't work. And hey,
Oh yeah, it's just
if you're flooded like that, then getting an unlimited air supply by making a makeshift snorkel and putting it in your toilet.
maybe that works. I don't know.
I mean, you can probably just use a hose. If you have a hose, then that would probably work the
Right.
same, I'd imagine. Might be easier to do than trying to undo your shower head like, while underwater. Like that's the part that I thought was a little bit ridiculous about it. It was like, man, shower heads. Like, how do you know how to get those off?
I mean, if you think that's ridiculous, Eggsy goes and punches in the two-way window mirror.
Yeah, seriously, that's probably what I would go for too. Like,
Trying to break
'cause
it.
I just think,
Well,
how can we escape? Because I'm not worried
Yeah.
about surviving under the water. I'm worried about getting out of here.
Right,
And,
right. Because Eggsy just tries to open the door, force it open, doesn't work, and then he goes to the other side of the room and just punches in the window. Which I'm not sure if that's possible with his bare hands. I would doubt it, but
Well, he does brace himself, and I appreciated that. Like he grabs the sink, and then puts his feet up on it, and then starts punching. And
I'm just not sure if you can actually get that much force
I believe it would just
underwater.
depend. I don't know. I don't know. You can get force underwater if you're secure. The hard part about getting force in water is the fact that you're not anchored to anything. So
Right, okay.
You can't get impact force because you're not braced. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're punching through water and then hitting something, and you're just gonna bounce off it and go backwards. Because there's a lot of buoyancy in water.
Oh,
Whereas
yeah.
If you can't go backwards, then that force needs to go somewhere. So if you direct it into something that's fragile, then it will break. It might
Yeah.
take you a while. Might take you longer than you'd have to not drown.
I mean, I think I would assume it's still pretty hard to just do it without water with your bare hands, even if you're really strong. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, fair enough. And but maybe if that was the intended solution, they made sure that it wasn't too strong to break.
Right,
And they
right,
might have
right.
made it where, like, let's have it so it doesn't break right away. So it's not like they just say, oh, there's a big thing that could be a window. Let's just tap that lightly and then it shatters. I guess it's also got to be it's got to be strong enough to hold the water pressure.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so I guess that would probably be the big question. If it's got to be strong enough to not break under the force of that much water, how can a human affect that directly?
Mm-hmm.
And that's I don't know, that's a question. Though I guess it's also under the water pressure while you're hitting it, so you're adding more pressure.
Physics. I have no idea.
Yeah, neither
I
do
just,
I really. I'm just I
I'm
used
just
to hit a
wondering.
lot of stuff.
Um,
I used to hit things when I was a kid. I guess that's what I think.
that's my physics lessons. I just punched stuff.
Well, I'll
But
tell
yeah,
you this much: punching bricks is a lot more painful than punching drywall. Though you shouldn't punch drywall. Your mom gets mad at you if you do. Trust me.
I mean, we don't have a lot of drywall here in Germany. We actually have real walls for the most part.
Oh yeah, don't punch those. They'll hurt.
I was say, don't punch those. Those are just hurt. They don't budge. But yeah, they all tumble through the window, and it's like, well, good job with that. Good job with the window. But also, you all basically failed, if you ask me, because you didn't think about teamwork. Because they're like, see, she over there, she died. Which we also later learn she doesn't. She didn't die.
It was a psychological tactic.
Yeah, because they make sure to say it's like, yeah, we only waste a life if we can't help it. Like it's all it's all chill. She's just working in like in an agency as she used to. But yeah, and they all get sorted out once in a while. The second to last test is them going to a party and making sure someone follows them or something.
Isn't that the last one? That's the last one.
No, last one is the dog one.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, the one before that. That's
the parachute. Yeah,
that's the.
You know what? I didn't count the dog one as one of the trials, but you're right. Yeah, that is the last one.
Yeah, that's the last test. It's the water one. I think then it's the parachute one. Then the one I was about to talk about. Go to a party and have to enamor the one girl or whatever, which ends up them being drugged. And then put on a fake rail and a train coming. And basically the idea is that they don't snitch about the Kingsman even at the end. And then the last guy...
The seduction thing was a trick. So
yeah.
It was just to make them think that they're going out to party and seduce a woman. But that's not the test.
Yeah, it's them getting chained to a rail where a train approaches and see if they would snitch about the Kingsman. Which they don't do, except the last guy. He's like, I'm going to tell you everything. So he is out. But yeah, so they just go through that, and then he fails at the end. And again, he just doesn't just win. He just fails and has trouble with things. Makes you appreciate the character a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's well, all this happens, of course. There's like this whole thing going on with with V. I always want to say,
V-Day?
Huh?
V-Day?
Yeah, with V-Day. That's all been prepped by good old Samuel L. Jackson with a lisp. Which the lisp is really funny. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch it. It's really entertaining.
Yeah, like, honestly, and it's Samuel Jackson just playing the kind of role that you never see him play, and it's good.
Yeah, so he just does all the things, and he also does a little test run that he wants to do.
Yeah.
And obviously,
He's arrived.
Galahad hears about this. He's like, okay, I'm going to go check out this church they learned about early in the movie.
It's basically the Westminster Baptists, I think, like the people who used to hand the God hates gays signs and stuff like that. And like a spoof of that church.
And because Eggsy gets he's about to actually beat up the abusive dad, but he's in a taxi that he took from the Kingsman building, and he just gets remote driven out of there before he can do anything. Like he gets locked in the car, and he gets to drive to Galahad, or drove to by him remotely. And basically tells him, oh, why you can't even do the fucking dog thing, like you threw that away. And that's like the scene we already mentioned, where it's like, oh, do you have my dad stuffed here somewhere as well? Because Galahad's dog is like, I say stuffed, there's like a proper word for it I can't think of right now.
Taxidermy.
Yeah. So he has that on basically on his toilet or what it was.
Yeah, it's above. It's facing his toilet.
And he's like,
So he's like, and I'm reminded of that every time I take a shit.
yeah, and Eggs is like, you sick freak, why would you do that? Right? It's like, well, he died of natural causes. He's like,
Yeah.
his dog was fine. It's like a bloody blank. It's like,
There's
oh,
a blank, and I loved the dog for like 10 years after,
Yeah.
after my training.
just kept caring for him. It's like, oh, that's nice. But before they can discuss further, he gets the whole thing with the church. So now Eggsy is watching him do this little mission because he just goes straight there. And yeah, the V is doing his little test run there, and then I'm sure if you're watching this, I'm sure you've seen that scene before. It's a big old action scene in the church.
Oh yeah.
They're in there, like Galahad is just sitting there listening to the thing, and he's he's about to stand up, and he's like, damn, they dropped the N-word like twice in this one, and the F slur as well.
Mm-hmm.
They go crazy. It was like, whoa, okay, I forgot that happened. And he goes like, oh, those Jews and everything. He was like, damn, that's a
When he gets up, he's like, I'm a Catholic whore.
Yeah.
Currently having Congress out of wedlock with my black Jewish boyfriend. Now
So-
hail Satan and have a lovely day.
And have a lovely day. It's so funny. And she's like, oh, you infidel. And before they can stop him, V starts the
Yeah. The test of the tone that makes people insane as you hear the organ from the Leonard Skinner song Freebird start entering
Yeah.
as the tones of are going off. And then we have one of the best action scenes in any movie ever, or at least any Hollywood movie
It's
ever.
pretty good. So
One
you
of the
basically have
best
like,
rock
I know,
solos of all time in the background.
there's probably
It's like-
60, 70 people in there. Like mostly, it's just all normal people. Like they're just hanging out. No
Yeah,
gun.
but like adult men though, like so some of them are big and there's a lot of them. So it's,
Yeah, that's also
he's not in a safe environment.
No, he isn't. So the phones start doing the noise. Everybody goes crazy. Even people who don't have the phone. So it's just enough if you're in the proximity of that.
Yeah, you even hear the tone. It doesn't have to be like
Yes.
in your pocket or anything.
Which now means you have a crazed Kingsman going rampage in this fucking place while everybody's fighting each other. So it's I think it's important to point out it's not the boring thing where they go, oh, there's the Kingsman, activate the thing, and they all start fighting the one guy, which would be
Yeah.
insane. It's a thing where everybody is fighting everyone. Like they're throwing shit at each other. They're getting like blocks from the ground. They get the fucking benches. Like
Anything that they can find as a weapon.
They start-
They're in a Yakuza game.
yeah, in the background they're beating the piss out of each other. Obviously, the Kingsman, like Galahad, is armed, so he starts with shooting the lady in the face he just talked to.
He draws first blood.
Oh yeah, and then everybody hits the shit hits the fan. Like he shoots people left and right, he beats them up, he stabs them horribly. There's so much blood. There's so many corpses. He blows people up. He gets beaten up. Like he doesn't get out of this unscathed. Like he gets stabbed in the back at some point, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. He puts like broken wood pieces into people, stabs them continuously. He gets like knocked in the back. He gets grabbed in a hole. Like he's not having an easy time. Like he's just in insano mode. He uses like his
The moment
gadgets.
I want to highlight with the knife before we move on from the knife is he stabs the guy in the chest with it, then pulls the knife out and blindly swings his hand around his back, like does like almost like a little spin, and cuts like two people's throats. with
Right.
that. And then in the same motion slams it into the top of a guy's head.
Yeah, it's
Like,
insane.
It's like, whoa, he killed 4 people with one knife swing. What the hell?
And yeah, he gets like one person has a gun and he gets shot in the back like twice, and he obviously they have the bulletproof suits,
Yeah.
so he is protected from these 2 shots. And now people who are like, but Meta, don't you hate John Wick and the bulletproof suits? Like, yes, because he gets shot like
fall
80,000 times, and goes like, oh, that sucks, and then just goes ahead. He gets shot twice. That happens like twice in the movie. maybe a
he
couple of
gets
more
knocked
times at the end with Eggsy when
with
he gets a
Eggsy, yeah.
suit, but you can't. I didn't see it. I don't know. But yeah, it's like
You're not showing the impacts doing nothing though, is the big thing with the suits here. It seems like the bullets still have an effect and he reacts to them.
he does react to him,
it's
and
not-
again, it's like 2 times, and it's like I think it was like pretty small revolver thingy. It's still a punchy gun, but it's not a crux. The suit is not a crux here. It's like a thing that saved him the one time, and then he kills the fucker. And there's no other guns in this scene, so there you go.
Yeah, he's not like tanking tons of damage, and he is taking damage too. The knife seems to go right through the suit.
Yeah.
Which yeah, I mean maybe, I don't know. That's almost like a Dune thing.
Maybe I don't know. It's always weird with
like,
these. It's probably bullshit. Like I don't know. I don't know how these Kevlar vests and stuff work, but I think if they're like at a certain level, you can't just stab through them. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's the thing about even the John Wick suit tech. It's like we don't have anything that can stop bullets that's that thin, or not stop the kind of bullets they're getting hit with. And even then, like if you just wore a layer of Kevlar that could stop a 9mm round, a 9mm round will likely still kill you because, or unless it needs to be the tightest fabric you've ever put on.
I mean, there's a type of these.
That bullet's going just as hard
Yeah.
through it. Like it's going to stretch out the material and still probably pierce your chest cavity.
Yeah.
So
also another difference in the John Wick universe now is that he just gets like his suit and puts it in front of his face, kinda, and then they pretend like this is like an impenetrable shield. And his suit is mostly not even fucking closed, so he can just.
The coattail in front of the face is the part that got me just being like, oh fuck these suits. It took a while because I was like, oh, well, they established the suits. But then it was actually, we did a Forge about it. It's the one where I was the only one who was at all positive about John Wick 4. But the thing that I go back to, and I'll say, the second he starts getting his coattail and covering his face and blocking bullets.
When they stand in
like,
front
oh
of each
my
other
God,
and both have one of
why?
these suits and go like, it's like, stop it.
It's like, man,
Fucking
like,
stop.
have them run out of ammo and fight at that point.
Yeah. Which is a thing that this movie does kind of well. Like, there's a lot of scenario. Like, most of the scenarios they have these fights in, people just don't have guns. Like a pub fight, just the one guy has the gun, but then he uses his little umbrella shield. Not little, it's like a normal sized umbrella, but he uses that as a tech shield thingy that's going on, which we also use later. And not just the suit goes like, yeah, I'm gonna hide behind my little thingy.
And honestly, I can grasp the concept of the shield mentally much easier than a suit that just stops bullets.
Oh yeah,
flat out. Like I mean, it's like no, he's like it's made of fabric though. I was like, well, as we see towards the end of the movie, it's not impenetrable fabric. Like there is a caliber of round that just goes right through it, like it's nothing. And B, it's still something he's holding out in front of him, and the bullets aren't actually touching his body at all. So it's like, well. Them absorbing the kind of recoil they do maybe doesn't make as much sense, but maybe that being a looser fabric that does bend with the force of the bullets makes that make a little bit more sense too, because maybe it actually is absorbing the vibration, as you could say, if you wanted to look at it like Captain America's shield, the way like vibranium does, where it just absorbs all the impact so that you don't really feel the things that are hitting that shield. So, I mean, an umbrella shield that is not so much stopping the bullets as catching them. I think you could maybe, like, I can make that make sense in my brain a lot easier than just you get shot by like a desert eagle in the chest and you're fine.
Yeah.
And you don't fall down at least. Like, you know, it's like, well, man, that should probably knock you over regardless. Like, unless there's some magic thing that's absorbing the recoil, and I'm like, how? Tell me how. And
I can't. Because it's funny that
you. I meant the writers. It's
I know.
Like,
because it's funny
sense,
there are like these bulletproof suits. There's like a company who makes these, but they're all just it's basically just a Kevlar vest embedded into a suit, so it just works the same way.
That would make sense to me.
But they still don't work the way they show in John Wick. Like it's not like in the like in the actual suit part. It's like just like. I think it's the vest, like the suit vest you put over your shirt. I think that's basically just a Kevlar vest.
That's the bulletproof part. Okay.
And then they have like some other material in the suit jacket, I think, but it's like no, it's not that insane. Like it doesn't work anywhere like that. But whatever.
Well, because the kinetic force needs to go somewhere. That's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to
if you
get
get
at.
if you get shot the fuck out of you, you just fucked.
Well, I mean, even one shot, if you get shot in the chest wearing a bulletproof vest, even with a plate, you are feeling like you're getting hit with the hardest punch you've ever been hit by.
Yeah.
Like, and you probably will still crack a rib. No joke. So it's like, man, that force doesn't just disappear, man. You gotta explain where that's going. And I think I can wrap my head around the umbrella shield or a vibranium shield. Like, give me a material that specifically says it absorbs impact, because then I can handle it a lot better than just, no, it's really hard metal. It's like, really hard metal will be pushing back with the force of a bullet if you're just holding it, man. Like, you're not attached to the ground. And then even if you're attached to the ground, then it might just break both of your ankles immediately. You know, like, the shield needs to be attached to the ground. Whereas I thought Captain America being like, yeah, no, it's a space age fabric that doesn't exist, called vibranium, which absorbs vibration and makes it so that you don't feel the impact of the things hitting the shield. Like, okay. Silly, but yeah, it's okay.
You got
and
it.
that's one where do you push the format too far, though, is when you say, well, this guy Black Panther, he has a full suit just made of the stuff, and nothing can damage him at all ever. But
and then he can use this force to just push back stuff. It's like, oh, okay.
yeah, and now he can absorb impact and then like get a force repulse from Force Unleashed.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Oh god.
Whatever you say, movie.
But yeah, like, I don't know, man. Like that's the thing. Like, making your characters too invincible is creating problems for yourself that don't need to be there when it comes to creating tension and stakes. Because it's the big reason why most people say, "Oh, it's so hard to make a good Superman story, though, because he's so hard to kill and like there's no stakes." I'm like, yeah, but there are good Superman stories, though. Just you have to find a way to make the stakes something other than Superman dying.
Yeah.
It needs to be, he needs to solve this before a thing happens that will kill a bunch of other people, or he needs to try to defeat this villain while also saving the people of Metropolis and not destroying the city. And like, you know,
there
what I
are
mean?
ways.
Like, yeah, like those can be the stakes for an overpowered character, but I think that you're asking for trouble if you're taking characters that can be grounded and can exist under the same level of stakes that most characters in most movies do, which is, if this character is in danger, the stakes are that I think they might die. You know? Whereas, because if you make a character invincible and they're never going to die, no one ever thinks that. So if you want the stakes to still be, oh, but the person might die, it's like, well, then why did you make them invulnerable, essentially? Or then like just do the thing where now all of a sudden this bullet goes right through. It's no different than the other ones. It just it hit him in just the right spot. It's like, well, okay, but you could have just not given him a bulletproof suit.
Yeah. Don't get me started with John Wick. I can just, John Wick 2 is so fucking bad.
This movie doesn't rely on it very heavily.
No.
And it definitely doesn't try to paint the Kingsman as invincible.
No.
Like, clearly. Most of them that are in the movie die.
Yes, it's true. Yeah. Even Galahad right after this scene. And it's I kind of like how this ends. Like he basically kills a lot of these people, and then he's like, there's like this silence because Merlin has been watching this. Eggsy has been watching this, and when he comes back to himself because he's not in this craze anymore from the sound, he's just looking around and going like, "Fuck, I killed a lot of people here just now."
He's sort of too stunned to really react, which is, I think, the only thing that makes Valentine then getting the drop on him makes sense. Because that, like, if anything, I think that's probably the part you could criticize most, because it's like, well, if he was able to do that much and has reflexes like he does, how is Valentine able to get the gun up and fire? And like, again, you could maybe make the argument that that's a minor hole because he probably should have been, but also
there's also a couple of more people with guns behind Valentine as well.
Also true, yeah. So maybe if he did, he'd have to still take out a bunch of people with zero cover, and every one of them has automatic weapons.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have his umbrella with him as well. So
yeah, true.
But yeah, maybe he could have prevented that, and then the other ones shot him. But yeah, he goes out there, it's like, you made me kill all these people. He's like, yeah. It's also kind of fun. Valentine shoots him, and it's like, oh my god, is he dead? It's like, yeah. And his lady friend with the knife feed, he goes like, feels good, doesn't it? He's like, no, it doesn't. It feels horrible. It's just, I forgot about that completely. It was like, oh, that's kind of fun. It's like, oh, that's horrible. Oh, get him away.
His character being a mass murdering Bond villain who just is disgusted by violence.
He can't see blood. Like he doesn't even he doesn't even watch the test. He just starts and is like, I guess I'm gonna go over here. And the lady really likes killing. Like she's like, you gotta see this. This is crazy. But yeah, Galahad gets shot in the fucking head, and they actually had the balls to kill him. For now, because I've seen the poster of the Golden Circle, and he's on there with a glasses that has one eye tinted, and I almost threw up.
Yeah. Oh God! You like?
I don't think I'm ready for that one. I don't think I'm ready for that one.
Oh God! Like if we're talking about a device that exists in a movie which can ruin steaks, well, wait till you see what Golden Circle has to offer you, man.
Yeah. Oh God, that's gonna be.
I can't wait. I almost hate the fact that I'm probably going to have to rewatch it just so my memory's bad. Because I've seen Kingsman probably 30 times now. I don't know that many, but like I'm willing to bet I'm in double digits. I really like the movie a lot. I've watched it with a bunch of my friends and stuff. So like it's a movie I know pretty well, and I recently watched it. Whereas Kingsman Golden Circle, I've only seen twice. I saw it in theaters and like a couple days ago. And my theater experience, I think, might have been informed by me really wanting Kingsman to be a series that keeps going and has more movies. Because I remember walking out being like, that wasn't as good as the first one. I didn't like it as much for sure, but whatever. Maybe this is just the bad one in a long line of James Bond type movies.
Right.
And now watching it again yesterday, I'm just like, oh my God, I realized why this series was in as much trouble as it was. Like, because we'll get to that one, but this one's good.
Yeah, this one I like that one quite a bit. But yeah, and Eggsy has been seeing this too, and he goes a bit crazy. So he goes to back to the headquarters, and there he's greeted by oh shit, what's the boss man's name?
Arthur. Michael Caine is Arthur. Or are you talking about Mark Strong?
Wait, no, I'm confused. I thought Galahad was Arthur.
No. Galahad is the knight that his code name is.
I thought
he's Harry. Harry's his name.
Oh, I've been saying it wrong the whole time, and you didn't even say a thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I didn't track that. That's what you were saying.
Oh yeah, I called him Arthur the whole time. Yeah, no,
I caught it this time. And,
okay, Retos. Anytime I said Arthur up until this point, I meant Harry. Sorry. Well, I don't know why I looked at the camera while saying that. You can't see me.
Anytime I've said Arthur, though, I am referring to Michael Caine's character.
Yeah,
because he's like the leader. And
yeah, so Arthur, for real this time, he's waiting for him, and they're like, oh yeah, we put all the information to the proper authorities. We are done here, and we just had a toast to our fallen comrade, Harry Galahad. And he's like, oh, come sit down here with me, boy. And it's like, let's have a little sippy together. And he sits down, but he sees a scar on the sides. And like, oh no, he is in with Valentine. Because everybody who has like this is safe has the little scar in the chip implanted. So he sees that.
It's a little too big to not be something that you think Arthur would be thinking about.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like,
it's very obvious. Pretty obvious.
Because I think they made it that big for effect for the audience, so that you can see them, like that we can see them. But yeah, I think it probably would have been much more effective if the scar was quite small, and just because Eggsy's smart, he was looking for it.
Yeah. And he notices like, oh shit, that's what's happening, and he's like, oh, are these all Kingsmen over there? Those pictures, and he switches the glasses, because earlier in the movie we learned there's like a little
pickpocketing.
A pen. No, I was talking about the poison. The pen that has like poison in it. If you switch the thing, it goes to like lethal and or primed and then lethal. And that was Arthur's plan to poison and kill him. But he we know he can do the pickpocket, and he also says like, oh well, I know the sleight of hands. That's what you guys don't tell me. I already had that. And while he was showing over there, he switched the thingy, so Arthur has the poison in him, and he basically kills himself with that. And then he takes the pen and gets the chip out and brings it to Merlin. And it's like, oh yeah, that's true, that happened. And now Argylle is basically back in. He doesn't have a code name quite yet, but he will get a suit very soon because Galahad was already making one for him, and now he's in the team. And they get an invitation to the party, like the Extinction Party, the V-Day party.
Yeah.
And
because Arthur had one.
Exactly. Yeah. Arthur had one. Oh yeah. Their plan is, so the way the activation works, they have like a satellite network in orbit that has to form a certain pattern, so they can activate all the chips at the same time, and everybody kills each other. So the plan now is Roxy, who is now Lancelot, uses some fucking spy high-tech device that has like a rocket on it, and they use weather balloons to get her up into inner orbit, I guess.
Orbit, yeah.
And
low orbit.
Yeah, and shoot the rocket at one of the satellites, so the network fails, and they can't activate it properly. Obviously, there's a little problems. One of the balloons explodes too early, so she has to adjust aim, but it kind of works out.
Yeah. God, man, it's the aiming when you're playing Metal Gear Solid sniping and you don't have any diazepam. Like, it's just, her reticle is going all over the map.
Yeah,
This would be extremely stressful. And she's like, man, I need to save the world now by landing this shot.
Yeah.
With a rocket launcher. Like, you land a sniper shot with a rocket launcher, and your reticle's just jumping all over the place because you're supposed to have 2 balloons and you only have.
Yeah. Oh, that just reminds me of the good old Battlefield days when we were playing with my homies in the 4 squad, and then you get your RPG out and you just snipe those fucking helicopters out of midair while they try to kill you. Yeah. Oh, it's the most satisfying fucking thing. They come full speed at you and just shoot them, and you aim and you get like all these points. Like, yeah.
do you have any idea how upset I got when I saw the Battlefield 2042 trailer? It was a CGI recreation of the best like Battlefield meme. The guy who ejects from his plane, pulls his chute, kills another guy with a rocket launcher, and then lands in his plane that's just fallen beyond him.
Yeah,
that's crazy. It's awesome.
It's like one of them.
Flies away.
God, it's one of the most iconic clips from Battlefield. When
which is why then they're doing it like, hey, let's do a pre-rendered version of it to be like a little love letter to the memes. I'm like, fuck off, EA, don't.
Yeah.
No.
By the way, we have hero selection now.
Show the guy doing it.
We're basically a hero shooter now. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
God, that game sucked when it came out. Probably still
sucks.
Talking
about, 5 was the hero shooter one. 2042 though is the,
no 5 is the 5 is banger, dude.
Oh, 5's good.
Yeah, 5 is the world. It's the
hero characters with.
5 is the World War one.
No, that's Battlefield 1. 5 was World War 2. And that's the one.
They
had the lady with the robot arm in the trailer.
Yeah, but that game is actually like the game itself is fantastic.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the better ones.
Okay, maybe I think I have it. Maybe I'll give that a shot sometime.
Rax played that quite a long time. He was always on about it. Actually made me go back and play it again.
Yeah, no, I love Battlefield 1. I didn't really get into 5, but maybe I just didn't get enough of a chance.
Yeah, no, that one was pretty good. And also 4, dude, we played the fuck out of 4 back in the day. That shit was tight.
Yeah, 2042 though is the new one that they made that was like broken when it launched. Disper really likes it though, and he insisted that it wasn't as broken as people were saying though. So
I played it the first time it was available and it was fucking awful.
Yeah, same here. I played it on Game Pass, and I was having trouble running it at 60 FPS at 1440p on my like other monitor over there with an RTX 3090, and I'm just like, what? Yeah. And then I kept on getting kicked out of games. So I'm like, okay, this is no good. Maybe it's gotten better, but yeah.
I mean, maybe the performance, but I don't know. It never really looked that engaging to play as well. I know. I'm kind of over multiplayer games like that anyway. I don't know. I can't get back into them anymore. I would need like a really cool game to get me back into these kinds of PvP situations.
I think every so often there could be like a game that a competitive shooter that will come out that I'll want to like put a bunch of time into just for fun, but it doesn't happen very often anymore. I think the last one I did was probably Valorant. Or
Right.
maybe Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite was after Valorant. And Halo Infinite, once the multiplayer launched, I had quite a good time with that for a little while.
We played the Modern Warfare game, that the first remake,
2019, yeah, the
the
2019
yeah
one, yeah.
2019 one, yeah.
Yeah, I
We
played that
played
one
that
too.
quite a bit, and then the meta started to hit, and we couldn't be bothered anymore because you just couldn't use
Everyone needed
any
like
other
4
weapons
shotguns
anymore.
or something.
Because remember
Yeah,
the one Battlefield, the one
Call of Duty.
COD I've played a long time was Black Ops 2. That was my Call of Duty. I played that on the PC quite a bit. I used to.
Mine was actually Modern Warfare 1, like Call of Duty 4. That was probably the
No,
one I
okay.
put the most amount of time in. Because whilst I was touring with the band at the time, like I was their cameraman,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them just loved playing Modern Warfare, and like they'd known me for quite a while there, and they knew that I was like the gamer guy, and they were not into video games at all. But then like Tyler, who's like the guy who wrote a bunch of the songs, he's like the keyboard player. He's just like, yo, we gotta go kill people together after this show. I'm like, why you're not gonna like go to like find a groupie? He's like, no.
No, I
So
play
we need
video
to kill,
games.
we need to go murder people back at the hotel. I'm like, okay,
Nice.
fine, but yeah. Though I remember that being an interesting one though, where it seemed like a lot of non-gamers were picking it up and being like, "Oh, we can just run around as soldier men and shoot people. This is
Yeah.
nice. It's easy to get kills."
Yeah.
And I honestly think that's a big thing with Call of Duty. It's very satisfying to get kills in a shooter. And Call of Duty is one where you can catch people by surprise and rack up a lot of kills that way.
Right.
Whereas Halo, you do need to aim and shoot, and especially with things like Quake, like you need to be moving, aiming, and shooting at all times for those kind of games. So Call of Duty, as much as like I'm not hating on Call of Duty, I mean now it's definitely gotten stale, but at the time that was a game where like you're getting progress all the time because they put an XP system in it, which was kind of new, and you're unlocking things, and it's not very hard to get a kill. You die a lot if you're not good, but you will get kills even if you suck. You'll find someone who's been shot once, or you'll catch someone who's running the other direction and then snipe them from far away, or just spray and pray, and enough of your bullets will hit that you'll get a kill. Or hey, chuck a grenade. Yeah. Whereas Halo, you have to be on the ball to win in Halo. You can maybe get the odd random grenade kill, or if you manage to make it to a rocket launcher or a sword, then you'll get a couple, but there would be times where someone would come over and like play Halo with like me and my buddies that would play all the time, where it would be like they'd be on the board with like 1 kill, and we'd all have like 50, like we were playing a high skill or a high kill count game. But yeah, I don't know. Now though, like I find the problem with a competitive shooter, like I guess the reason I was saying I haven't got into one in a long time, is that if I'm not like planning to make a video on it, it can be an endless waste of time. And by endless, I mean like I can always fire up another multiplayer match, you know. I played a bit of the finals, and that's kind of got a battlefieldy aspect to it, and that like you can destroy a lot of the buildings and stuff. But I can't get pulled into it because I know that I'm like, well, I'm probably not ever gonna make a video on this game. So even when I fire it up, I'm like, I'm just gonna play around with this for fun for a bit. But I can't get into the loop of all right, I'm gonna unlock every weapon. I'm gonna be at the top of the leaderboard. It's like that's such a big time investment that I spend so much time playing video games that I do plan on doing things with and writing things on. Even if I don't end up making the video that I'm writing it, I intend at least to be studying to a degree and like actually being productive with it. Whereas I find that I don't get that same drive for multiplayer games. Like I think it's because I know that it's so hard to write something about a multiplayer game that will remain consistent by the time you're finished with the video or like whatever you're doing is published, because as you were saying with the meta in Modern Warfare 2019, the meta is shifting all the time and things are breaking, and all of a sudden the net code got way better when you thought it sucked. So there's just so many variables that I find writing about multiplayer games is the kind of thing that the players who play those exclusively sort of need to be the ones analyzing those.
Yeah.
Like it's why I didn't really want to make a video about Diablo, because I'm just like I liked playing through the campaign of Diablo 4, but I'm not like a Diablo end game grinder guy. I have like every single legendary weapon. Like I'm just not one of those guys. So
Right.
When it comes to analyzing the end game, I'm just not going to really be able to tell you if this is a good one of those or just an okay one, because I don't really know the difference between the good and okay ones, because the end game is where that presents, or like the meta in a multiplayer shooter, and I don't have as good a sense of when that's shifting, or I'm just like, no, I kind of want to like use the guns that I'm good at using, or that's why.
That's why I stopped
arena
playing
shooters are good.
the COD games, because I like to
Yeah.
play around with other weapons. Like Black Ops 2, I had like a gold FAL. Like I was pretty
Yeah.
banging with that one, and then I used it in the other games and just wasn't worth it because the time to kill is so short with every other automatic weapon. You don't even get to shoot
Yeah.
enough when you have a 1v1 scenario. It's really,
Yeah. The FAL was repeating fire, right?
yeah, you had to click for every shot.
Yeah. One semi-automatic. Yeah, repeating fire. Sorry, that's the.
Which
army.
so the shots are stronger with each one, obviously, but if the
Rate
SMG
of fire.
needs 4 shots, which it can do in like a second, while you need like 2 shots in 3 seconds, like I'm gonna lose every time. It's
The
really
map doesn't
lame.
add up, and the engagements aren't over a long enough range that having the
Yeah.
slower fire, longer range, high damage.
Everyone was just using the M4, every single one, because it was accurate, it killed fast, it was just the best one to use, and that's. I fucking hate meta gaming. It's so lame.
Well,
I want
that's-
to play
why-
other weapons. I'm not like a super pro gamer that can just use any weapon and just annihilate everybody. I just want to
Yeah.
play the video game and use other weapons sometimes and have some fun, but then you
Well,
lose
that's
and then you
why-
don't have fun and you just stop playing a game.
It's why I quite like the arena shooter format, where you don't have a loadout, you load in with what everyone else
Yeah.
has, and the weapons are on the map. So strategy can win over just Twitch skill, or like, hey, I have the best weapon and you haven't unlocked it yet, so ha ha ha.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the part I hate the most. It's one of the reasons I couldn't play Mario Kart with Geeks and Gamers anymore, because they're all like, every single one of them that's like doing any good at all is using the same tires. They have like a really heavy character like Steel Mario, and they never change their loadouts or anything. And in Mario Kart, it's not all unlocked. So I'm like, man, I can't even use the setup you're using. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, obviously you're going to beat me because you have just a much better cart. And then I'd get the, oh, you got to put in the time, grind them out. I'm like, I don't want it though.
But I want to play the other video games.
I want to play Mario Kart with friends, man. It's not a game I play in my spare time.
Did you hear that, Fringy? Play other video games.
Yeah, Fringy. Well, is Fringy is he a Mario Kart guy?
Oh,
I
he
thought
every
liked
when he
platform games.
streams on Twitch, it's just 90% Mario Kart. Like he just,
I mean-
he really likes playing that game to
Oh
stream.
God, I gotta sick him on the Geeks and Gamers people. He'll probably crush me.
Like he plays online all the time. I played online with him once. Like I got annihilated because it's like a point system, and then you get matched with the same kind of points, and it's like 0 points. They have like 20,000, and they like know all the shortcuts. I'm just like, I'm driving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the shortcuts thing. I'm like, okay, well, I can follow them into a
It's kind
shortcut. So
it's kind of
that's the kind
awkward
thing
as
that I
well,
can-
because I'm in a scenario where I'm not good enough for this kind of gameplay. But when my friends come over that don't play as much, I win
Yeah,
every
you annihilate
time.
them. Maybe you and I should play Mario Kart.
Yeah, maybe.
We might be around the same skill level, because I'm like okay at it, but I also like having Tanuki suit Mario because I think it's funny. I think it's just it's a cute looking character to have on the screen when you got the little raccoon Mario, and I like using the bikes because they're fun. But it's like, oh yeah, but you need a heavy player, and you need to be using a cart, and it needs to be these tires so that you. I'm like, what, like.
God, I fucking
I'm
hate
gonna play
metagaming.
Mario Kart, not Gran Turismo. Like, if I wanted to play Gran Turismo, there's GT games, man.
Yeah.
Or Forza is on Game Pass, whatever. I could just play that if car tuning is what I was here for. I want to chuck a red shell at you. It's all I wanted to.
Yeah. Oh god. Metagaming, everybody. It's really cool.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we did get to we're at the mountain now, right?
Yeah, they're in the mountain, so
Yeah. Okay.
we're nearing the end.
back on track.
Because now he finally got a suit. Eggsy got a suit. It's the first time you get to wear a suit, and he looks quite dapper in it.
Yeah. Taron Egerton's a good-looking man.
No homo.
Yeah. No, like maybe 10%.
And then maybe a little homo.
I can understand why girls would want to sleep with him.
I mean, the Swedish princess wants to. It's also,
Oh, yeah.
It's really, I really like this joke. Like he's like sitting there, and he's like, "Get me out of here!" It's like,
And he's like, "Oh, sorry, love. I just got to go save the world."
if you save the world, we can do it in the asshole. He's like, "No, well, I'll be right back."
And like, what I loved about that is that's totally the type of exchange that Bond would have with a Bond girl, but it's
but more
30
classy.
times edgier. Well, that's the thing. It's like it's 30 times edgier. And it's the kind of thing that makes sense with the street tough turns secret agent thing. It's like, yeah, that would be the kind of stuff that you hear and you'd be like, oh fucking hey girl, let's do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought that we were gonna enter an era of just endless like Bond movies that weren't Bond but were more fun.
This is funny was Exy's surprise as well. It's like, oh, I was like, all right.
Yeah,
it's quite fun.
And then I mean, yeah, the film ends on the beginning of that. We don't get to see any of it, but
you see Merlin seeing the feast like, oh my, and just closes the monitor.
Hey, you know, Swedish royalty, they get freaky.
Apparently so.
I mean, did they say she's Swedish or is she just Scandinavian, like nondescriptly?
Maybe the premier minister or whoever that is, the husband, he comes in with like a Swedish airplane, so that's why I thought Swedish.
Oh, okay.
Might be Scandinavian. Yeah, I don't know. Some of my neighbors here.
The whole region, like, so I don't know. I didn't remember if they said her specific country, but I mean, there's a detail that even though I've seen the movie a whole bunch of times, I guess I don't pick up on that.
I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. It's just
hot Norse lady.
Hot Norse lady. But yeah, he's in here now. He's pretending to be Arthur Flimflam, and yeah, he needs to get online. But there's one guy who has a laptop that's online because he had to basically say, like, I want to go online, and probably have to fill out like a form or something. I don't know. He tranks him, goes online so he can get all the info, blah blah blah. But before he can be undercover, oh no, the last guy from the Kingsman exam, he's here because he was like, oh, my parents got invited, obviously. And yeah, he's like, I caught a spy, and now he has to run away, which leads us to the big old shootout because he has to go back to the airplane. Obviously, the idea to escape, and then we have like that's probably the part that has the most plot armor. To be quite honest, it's like there's a lot of guys with people who don't hit. they have Bond villain aim, I guess, or just evil man aim.
I think it's less that, and I think it was him being the gymnastics champion pays off in this scene.
I think that's what they were going for, but there's a bunch of things where they could have easily shot him.
Absolutely. If you have automatic weapons, you can create a wall of fire that just no one can touch.
I was actually kind of
more than one guy. Like you get 5 people shooting an automatic weapon down the corridor, and nothing in that corridor will be alive.
Yeah, I was just kind of surprised we didn't see any bounce offs from the suit, like at all. At least I didn't notice any while I was watching it. I was kind of expecting to see any of those, but I guess they were going for the gymnastic one, maybe.
Yeah, because he's moving very unconventionally. He's doing a lot of like interesting throws and takedowns and using human shields and jumping up and bouncing between, because it's a narrow hallway, so he kind of does like a live motion Splinter Cell kind of deal where he goes one step up and then gets a bit of height through the thing and then jumps. And
there's definitely more reason for him not getting hit than in a lot of other movies, but I'm just saying I'm pretty sure I've seen a couple of like 1 or 2 parts where it's like, oh, that guy could have easily shot him just now, but he just didn't because he wasn't allowed to from the script.
I mean, that's fair.
That's what I mean. This one had the most plot armor, I think. But funnily enough, still not as aggressive or insane than in many other movies, which is kind of funny because this is the over-the-top movie I was watching, and most of the action scenes I've seen were actually like, oh, he actually got hurt a little bit here, and it's not perfect. But if he didn't get hit, there was actually a pretty good reason. This is also where we see him using the umbrella because he now has an umbrella later on. So he gets back to the airplane. He gets some fire support by Merlin, who is now using his gun as well. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, you got to go back because he. It's kind of funny. They destroy the satellite. And it's like, oh, we need to recalibrate, and it comes like an hour, maybe 2. He's like, what? What about these satellites over there? But those are not ours. Whatever. Let me.
He just calls a favor.
He calls a home. He's like, hey, I have a little problem right here. Can you give me a little I need a little piggyback. Can you move your satellite over here? It's like, oh, thanks, man. He just gets the satellite for someone else. I quite like that, actually. It's like, oh, he's super well connected, so he just called someone. It's like, hey, can I use your satellite to kill the rest of the population?
I mean, I think the implication might have been that it's like a military satellite too, because
I think it was some Russian satellite. I think it had like a Nikita name or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter. It's probably one of his friends who has a chip in him anyway. So he just called that guy because it's all like super rich and connected people.
I just know because also some of the heads you see exploding are in NORAD. Like it would be like it's like the American government is like in on it. Basically.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought that might have been one of those.
So he goes back.
It's Russian then.
And Merlin tells him, well, you gotta go back. He still has the hand on the thing. You need to get that. It's like, oh, are you taking the piss? Like, I'm afraid not. I kind of like their interactions. They were kind of fun. There's also
I had to fight my way back through that.
Yeah, that's also a fun thing when they land in here. It's like, well, you were just promoted from my pilot to my valet, and Merlin just goes like, you cheeky. It's really fun.
I mean, he uses that to good strategic effect later.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh come on, guys! I'm just the pilot.
No need for guns, and shoots them all. But yeah, it's like, oh, well, can I get this gun then at least? And it's like, well, no, that's mine. Yours is over there, and then he gets like all, and now he gets like all the gadgets of a Kingsman. He has like he gets like the ring and stuff as well. He has like the umbrella and all that shiznit. So he has to basically
to the end game gear.
He has end game gear now, exactly. So he has to fight his way all the way back in, but he gets surrounded at some point. And it's like, oh, I'm fucked. Yeah, and Merlin also gets surrounded. They even like they push.
They bring the SAM missile in.
Yeah, inside. He's like, oh, that's the first time he actually swears. He's like, oh, fuck me, or something around those lines. He says it's kind of fun because he's always been like this, very polite. And even when he said like this cheeky fucker, he just went like, you cheeky, like he still swallowed the fuck. But this one is like, and then they established earlier that there's the chip has like two parts, one to make them immune and one to, well, blow their head up. Mm-hmm. And Eggsy says, oh, can you activate the security override thingy? He's like, oh, yes, I can. And then we get the scene where all the people who have one of these chips, their heads just explode. And this is one of these things.
Circumstances playing like the graduation song.
Yeah, and they have it's a very stylized thing because we don't see like a lot of blood explosions. It's like little, I don't know, little smoke.
Nuclear explosions, like a colored nuclear explosion.
Yeah, a small colored nuclear explosion, like little smoke bombs. Which is kind of interesting because it kind of reminded. I immediately thought about Argylle again. I was like, see, you can actually have this kind of thing.
That but better.
And have it's in the movie because I assume they did this so they don't get like an R rating.
Yeah, probably, but I think like it's the way they did it was funny enough, and the tone of the way they shot it too. Yeah. Like I'm saying, like pomp and circumstance playing, so it's like this scene is. It is kind of funny that just they managed at the last moment they managed to save themselves by simultaneously blowing up the head of pretty much every villain.
Every villain around the world.
Like and obviously just where they are, like all across the world.
And their hope is obviously that Thingy has one of those in his head as well. But he just goes like, did you actually think I have one of those in my head? I out your goddamn mind.
One of those in my own head.
But yeah, he still has his hand on there, and it's kind of fun because we get like shots around the world where just people beating the shit out of you. They're like at the beach and just having headlocks and beating. So you see like wide shots of London where like a bus just runs through people. It's pretty grim actually.
I mean, I would say as long as you're not close to the water, the beach actually might be one of the safest places to be because most people will not be armed and not wearing shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like immediately just not being kicked with shoes. That's a big deal.
Oh yeah, 100%. But it's kind of fun. You can see it like around the world. It's just absolute chaos. It's just insane, like this smoke, people throwing each other around. And that's like what
Roxy has called Eggsy's mother and told her to lock the baby in the bathroom.
Yeah, and throw the key away.
And it's pretty scary what's going on there too during this scene.
Yeah, because she gets like a butcher's knife at something and starts hacking at the door and almost gets to the baby. It's kind of like, damn.
Yeah, it's like a Shining reference.
It was. I was kind of expecting her to do a thing, but I guess she's like in a craze just now. So
yeah.
Yeah. Then what is also fun? He stops them for a little bit because he just starts shooting the windows upstairs where like they're in a little overview, like the lady and him, and they just go kind of into cover. I don't know why I keep forgetting Samuel's name in this one. I always want to say Victor or something. Valentine, yeah.
Is it Victor Valentine?
It might be, but it's Valentine. For some reason, my brain just deletes that every time. Maybe I'll remember it at some point.
Basically, he's like evil Elon Musk, or like
yeah,
Jobs or something. Tech billionaire dude, like I don't know, Bill Gates.
And then she obviously goes down. They have the Blade Lady. Actually, do we ever get her name? Doesn't matter. I haven't said it once.
Yeah, we do. It's because he calls to her and then she doesn't say anything, and that's how he knows she's dead. But I forget the name. Sophia Bonello's character.
Yeah, exactly. They have a fight, and there's another thing we established earlier. He has like a little knife in his shoe, and he uses that to kind of scratch her because like some kind of toxin in it that kills someone basically immediately. And
when they're in the fitting room, he says, "Now do the greeting of an 18th century or 19th century German aristocrat."
And he puts like his one finger in front of his nose, and does like the hand gesture is like, not that one, no.
Not the 19th century.
That was funny.
But yeah, so it's like a heel click. And then he does the heel click, and that shows that the little blade comes out of the toe. And Harry says that it's coated in the most dangerous neurotoxin that exists in our world.
It's also funny because he asks, "Oh, how do you get it back in?" He's just like, "Well, there's a toxin on there, so very carefully," and just kind of pushes it against the wall.
Yeah, don't kick your other foot with it.
No,
Not a good idea.
Yeah, they have like a scuffle. It's like a pretty dynamic scene, like, because she's very fast and he's pretty fast because of his gymnastic background. They slice them. She dies of that poison. He goes, oh no, wait, he doesn't go up there. He like his hand is back on the thing. Like, oh, that's what I meant to mention earlier. He doesn't have the hand on there when they take cover, so everybody just goes back to normal around the world, and they go like, "Oh shit, what happened here?" And they just help each other up, and then later on he puts it back on and just start beating the piss out of each other again.
Yeah,
it's really funny.
Well, I mean, at least the second time you kind of know what's happening, so you won't be mad at each other. Like when you have to settle down afterwards.
Yeah, it's like, what's happening?
Like, look, okay,
I need to do it again.
We're both feeling it, right? Like it's not just me who's going insane. You guys are also going nuts. Okay, cool.
All right, cool. All right, back at it. But Eggsy takes one of the blade prosthetics.
Oh! You mean what saves the day? Ultimately, is it a prosthetic leg?
It does, because he extends it to be like a stabby thing,
javelin,
and throws it at like a javelin, exactly. Throws it perfectly at Valentine. I didn't forget it. Oh, good on me.
Yeah.
And he just falls back over. It's like, ugh. And there's a throwback to a line earlier before Harry gets shot, because Valentine goes like, well, now we're like in one of these movies we like, and I'm gonna explain my plan to you, and then I put you in a very elaborate trap, and you have to get out there very elaborately. And Harry says, oh yeah, that would be nice. Like, well, it's not one of these movies, and just shoots him in the face.
Oh yeah.
And of course Eggsy saw that, and then Valentine is like down there kind of dying. It's like, are you gonna say something super cringe now or something, like a really bad pun? It's like, no, because as you know, this is not one of these movies, bruv.
Yeah, not that kind of movie, bruv.
Yeah, and he goes like, perfect, and then dies. It's so good.
Yeah, because he like gets it. He's like, oh, you saw that? Okay, cool. All right, nice callback.
Yeah. And yeah, the day is saved.
Movie.
And very important to notice, he grabs some champagne.
Yeah,
Merlin
it's like, Eggsy, where are you going? We can leave.
he's like,
Eggsy.
actually, we don't need champagne. There's plenty on the plane. He's like,
Yeah.
and then he goes back to the princess. He's like, did you save the world? It's like, yeah, I did. Well, come in there. And then he's like, Merlin, the door's locked. How do I get in there? I was like, oh, 2526. Like, oh, you're the governor, man. He just goes in there. It's like, actually, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then the last shot you see is just through the camera in his glasses, and you just see a close up of the princess's ass,
the top of her hips. Yeah.
Because remember, they're gonna have some fun times in the bum bum.
Yeah.
And Merlin goes like, "Oh my goodness," and just closes the door, or the screens, and then the end credits start rolling.
Yeah. It's a great ending to a movie.
It's a really, really fun movie.
Yeah.
And then there's like
it's not even mid credits. It's like you get 2 seconds of the lead credits, like the poster name.
And then we see him. Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then it goes right back into the pub where Harry initially walked in. And this time it's Eggsy wearing the suit, carrying the umbrella, and he does the whole thing where he basically just talks to the guy that's the leader of the gang and the dudes that he fought, and they sass him, obviously. And then he starts trying to leave. They say, and then does he say something about his mom?
Oh, he tells his mom's like, oh, I got this tailor shop downstairs, and now I have a job which comes with a lot of benefits, including a house.
What they shout at him, they shout something at him just as he's about to walk there. Yeah.
Go let yourself make a chicken costume because it's gonna fit your face.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but he gets the mom out of the situation, and then he basically realizes that something the bad guy says to him was rude.
Yeah, he doesn't even get the mom out of the situation. The mom tells him to leave, like he told Harry back. So he's about to leave without the mom. Because the guy is like, you fucking sit down, because he's still a big fat bully.
Yeah.
And then,
and then he walks over to the door and does the manners maketh man.
Yeah, exactly, like Harry did. And then he even does the thing with the pint where he just uses the umbrella to just catapult in this guy's face.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where the end credits start. I don't think he beats them all up. We don't get to see that.
Yeah, we don't get to see the whole fight, but I thought that was a great way to end the movie, and it really kind of nails home the concept they were talking about the first time they're in the tailor shop about, have you ever seen Pretty Woman? And he's like, oh, like My Fair Lady at the end of it. Mm-hmm. It's the idea of like the pleb, the dude from the streets, after being taken under the wing of a good person who wants to just to give someone an opportunity that they wouldn't normally be able to have. And now he's grown himself into a gentleman.
Yes.
I thought that him like basically kind of stepping into the roles as like the true successor to Galahad was a fantastic way to end the movie.
Yes, I really liked it.
Yeah, and then the Golden Circle happened.
Well, that's for next time.
Oh God, I feel so sorry for you.
I have to circle back to Argylle again because I'm still baffled. It just goes back to, you have a simple premise, you have some solid characters going on, you have some silly action that is quite unrealistic for the most part. The movie establishes that it's like this kind of movie, this kind of universe. We have over the top action, but even then, in that sense, it's still more competent than most movies because people are not invincible and they make sure to make it quite realistic in the standards of the movie. It's like, oh, I'm still moving around a lot. I'm getting this guy out the way, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, showing us that the Kingsmen are extremely competent as opposed to just having us assume it, so showing them do stuff like normal people do and just not get shot ever.
Yes.
Like they do make an effort to make the Kingsmen seem like weapons almost. Like them just being around is enough to handle a bunch of situations.
Yeah. And simple plot. You have the bad guy who wants to kill people, lots of people in the world because climate change is gonna kill everyone anyway. So we're gonna do it first, and then have a little society after the society. Blah blah blah. then Eggsy obviously having the whole thing. It's like, oh, I'm just from the streets, growing up in a poor-ish family, trying to get by, changing the way I am, and making myself out of something because I got the opportunity to, and succeeding in the end. It's like pretty simple plot.
And the idea of you don't have to look at the upper class as something that you should hate forever, resent, and never try to become part of. Like, you should try to be successful, try to learn good manners, try to behave as if you are upper class, even if you're poor, even if you're from the lower classes, because hey, you never know when your life might actually turn around, as long as you're doing all the things that you need to do in order to succeed in society. And I think that it's like, well, yeah, you know, that actually is a good lesson. And also, the lesson to the aristocrats of like the opposite side is, yeah, just because someone's from the streets doesn't mean they're not better than you at a bunch of stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I mean, they might just be inherently more skilled than you. They just are from a bad situation. Yeah. Their life ended up differently. So, you know what? They ended up in a circle of failure. And that's kind of what was happening with Eggsy. He's just deciding that he didn't want to become any more successful than he was because he didn't want to leave his mom behind, and didn't view joining upper class society as being like an option. He's like, well, no, I'm always going to be one of me. And I thought it was really cool that Harry was the guy that's like, no, you can be just as great as any of these kids who went to the fancy English private schools. Yeah. Nothing is stopping you from being as great or better than any of them. And you know, that's a nice little moral to have underneath your spy movie, where you don't really need anything like that, but it was there.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. And then you have this pisshole Argylle, which is in the same universe. I don't know why they even bothered connecting those.
Like, I found that out during our show last week.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what?
Like, you connected to the Kingsman universe, where you can do all these weird things. Like, if I would have had the... Now, you know what? I'm not even sure. Like, I think the oil scene is just too much, even for Kingsman, because there's nothing like this crazy in this one.
I mean, maybe they're just like, Matthew Vaughn's just gonna be like, yeah, it was a troll all along. Every other Kingsman movie isn't canon.
Okay, whatever.
Golden Circle and Argylle aren't. Kingsman and Kingsman Secret Service are. We're gonna keep going
because Argylle is like this pretty grounded for the most part, and then you start having like 17,000 twists, and then these crazy things at the end. Like, that's just a schizophrenic movie to me, because it's just like 3 movies in one. And
well, also it presents the schizophrenic, the intense action as fictional and not something that exists in the movie's universe. So when they go back to being that stuff by the end of it, it is on the jarring side.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whereas in Kingsman, it's like, no. From the get-go, like, you understand the ability level of a Kingsman, because, like I said, that ski chalet scene opens with him doing something really awesome, taking out a whole bunch of guys effortlessly, and doing it with charm and style.
Yeah. But the thing is, the car scene from the book in the beginning, I could have easily seen this in this movie, where like some crazy grinding on the side. Like, I think it sort of fit right in.
Yeah. But what I was saying though is the oh wait, hold on, what was I? Oh crap! I've my brain has skipped again. I'll probably get it in a moment.
Oh, that's okay.
After the ski chalet scene. So after you've established the Kingsman as a force to be reckoned with, that one Kingsman in the scene, you then end that scene by establishing a threat that can take one down.
Yeah.
And get the jump on him, because it wasn't just that she was there; it's that, you know, they were ready for him, and they were basically kind of trying to find him there. So it's like, well, yeah, now you've got a villain that's kind of one step ahead of the good guys, and it begins with, hey, one of the good guys died, so we're already off the bat, you know, we are going up against people who can kill our full-blown agents.
Yeah,
they're capable of it. They did it.
They did it. But yeah, Kingsman 1, Kingsman The Secret Service. Go watch it. It's a really fun, entertaining movie that I recommend watching everyone. I really like it. And now I'm really scared for what comes in the Golden Circle, because I've never seen that one. I don't think I did.
Yeah, it's going to piss you off.
Yeah.
It's going to piss you off a lot.
I mean, I've only seen the poster, right? and I've seen Harry being on there. It's like, oh, no.
Yeah, that's... I was gonna say, like, Harry doesn't show up very early on, and you will be pissed off significantly before he gets
Oh,
there.
great.
Oh God.
But that's the second one. That's the one that came after this, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
man.
the movie that came out immediately afterwards, and the only one which has advanced the story beyond Kingsman Secret Service. So
Oh,
there's been no
okay.
other sequel. The only other movie in the series is a prequel called The King's Man with a
Okay.
space in between them.
Is that the
And
one with Rasputin? Rasputin?
yes,
Okay.
so it takes place in World War One
Yeah,
era,
yeah,
and deals with the beginning of World War One, most of the meat of World War One, as well as the Russian Revolution, and yeah, there's all sorts of neat ties to old school World War One, like military history stuff.
It's kind of weird how they like jumped all over the place, because we have this scene with Harry and Eggsy at some point where he points at these front pages of the newspaper, where it's like, oh, I did this there, did this there, did this there. It's like, oh, you could have just told these stories if you wanted to. If you didn't want to do anything with Eggsy for a while, you could have told some of these stories. I mean, could have easily done like a bunch of spy movie thingies.
Eggsy is in it, so or not in The King's Man. He's in Kingsman Golden Circle.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
I've seen him on the
and to be
poster.
fair,
Yeah.
One thing that I do like about Golden Circle is what they do with the headline front page news concept.
Okay.
There's a nice little moment where it's like, oh, that's cute. But yeah, it does. The movie will mostly piss you off aggressively.
Cool.
But I mean, again, I think that like doing The King's Man, even if we want to take a break from it, because I guess we got to take our Madam Web break for the following episode, 2 episodes from now.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean, we can
can
finish this arc at some point, no problem.
Well, then I vote we make the next one The King's Man, like the prequel, and then after that, I think we should finish it with Kick-Ass. Just the first one, because Matthew Vaughn did not direct the second one, so.
I've never seen the second one of that one as well.
Yeah, it's the. You know what? I don't even want. I gotta watch it again now. Shit. Yeah. It's gonna make me ruined because I had kind of a similar reaction. I was like, that wasn't very good when I walked out. I was like, wait, was I going too easy on it? Am I gonna watch it again and then hate it? Because I did recently watch Kick-Ass 1, and yeah, that holds up. It's a really good movie.
Oh, wow.
So, bro, like God, the first scene in that, the first like fight scene where Kick-Ass has his outfit on. There's a scene where he's just fighting 3 guys, and he doesn't exactly win, but it is a better superhero moment than I've seen in the MCU in a very, very long time.
I bet. Is that the one where he just gets beat the fuck out of it, but still saves the person with that? Yeah. That's what I remember.
Awesome. And his line at the end is just incredible. But we'll get to that part in the arc. I won't revisit it now because I'll remind the audience of it.
Oh my god.
You guys should go watch. But Kingsman, The King's Man, and Kingsman Secret Service, The King's Man, and Kick-Ass. Although, I mean, you might not like The King's Man, so that's one I'm saying is good. I do know people who dislike it.
Okay.
There is some very bad CGI in that film. I will say that much.
No
And yeah, it's the era of volume shoots, but
Right.
The story though, the story is significantly better than Golden Circle by a lot. And the characters. Oh man, good characters.
Well, I guess can look forward to watching Golden Circle next. And you, people, will see that, the following week of this one.
Yeah.
So that's
Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. German time?
Yes.
5 p.m. German time.
As usual, at least that's the time we always try to. That might actually change depending on what guest we have at some points, but you all know when that's gonna happen, don't you worry. But I guess that wraps that up. You got anything to add?
No, not really. I mean, as you guys are listening to this, I'm on vacation, so I'm in another country. And I hope that it's nice, but I actually don't know that yet because I'm presently still in Canada. My present, not your present, your past.
Oh my god.
Which is now my past.
Yeah, what Marc said. Anyway, this is gonna be premiere, so there was a premiere chat this whole time. Hey, premiere chat, you doing all right? Cool. See you next week, I guess.
Adios.
Goodbye.